attention to that particular location to give them light and other necessary infrastructure. The marketing agents or channels. Marketing agents or marketing channels is the sequence of intermediaries or markets through which produce move from the producer to the consumer. So the channels or sequence by which produce move or the markets from the producer to the consumer they are the ones that are known as the marketing agents. Then it is the stage through which a produce passes in the market system, starting from the producer to the final consumers. Then now we look at the marketing agents or channels. The first is the local markets. The local market is simply the markets around you, markets you easily have access to. You can get pepper, get maize, get yam, get your potatoes, get vegetables, get all sorts of farm products from there. That's a channel. So consumers can go directly to the market and get their produce that is needed. Then cooperative societies too is another channel. Cooperative societies buy produce from farmers and help them to sell it. So that's another channel. Then middlemen. Middlemen are retailers and wholesalers that buy goods in bulk from the farmer or the producer. Then they sell it in smaller quantity to the consumers. Then commission agents. Commission agents could be by the government. They are the ones that they are accredited to sell such produce. They can buy produce from the farmer, export it, or even distribute it within the country. So they are the ones that they are also agents. They can get from the farmer and sell to the general public. Exporters too are marketing agents. They get the goods and majorly export it. They take it out of the country, so they sell it out and bring back money. Producers. Some producers sell the goods themselves. Especially when the producer is a peasant farmer, he just takes it to the market on his own because the goods are not so much that he can't afford to sell. So that's another agent. Then we have the consumer. The person that eats the food directly is a consumer. The processor. The processor is a person or an industry. Let's say it's an industry that gets the raw material and processes it or refines it to another produce. For instance, you get raw cocoa from the farmer, produce it into beverages for the general public. That is a processor. So those are the agents. Then we have the marketing boards. These are usually set up by the government. They regulate marketing of agricultural produce. So they get it from the farmer, sell it at a particular rate to the consumers. Now this is the chart showing the marketing agents or the channel. This is the producer, and that is the center of production because it's the one that produces it, or we call him the farmer. The wholesaler buys from him, then the retailer buys from the wholesaler, then consumers buy from the retailers. Then looking at another wing, the commission agent gets it directly from the producer, while the marketing board or the exporter gets from the commission agent, then the consumer gets from the marketing board or the exporter. Or the producer takes it directly to the market, then the final consumer gets it from the market. The producer can give it to the cooperative society, then the cooperative society gives to the final consumer. Or the producer can sell to private middlemen, and private middlemen can get to the final consumer. The bottom line of this marketing agent channel you should look at is that it comes from the producer, it starts from the producer and ends with the final consumer. Now we'll look at the advantages and disadvantages of the marketing agents or channels. I mentioned some marketing agents and channels. So we want to look at, okay, what advantages and disadvantages do they have? And the first marketing agent that we'll be looking at the advantages and disadvantages is the marketing board. Advantages of marketing board. First, they provide an organized and ready market for various agricultural commodities because they get it directly from the producer. So they get it first hand. So the consumer can get it directly from them. Like you can see from that chart, or the other people can get it from them, but they have a group of produce, not just one, various agricultural commodities, they have it. Then another importance or advantage of marketing board is that they stabilize prices of farm produce. They make it stable. Then sometimes they provide capital to the farmer, and they also advise and encourage the farmer to adopt modern farming techniques. Okay, this is what is happening now. Farmer, you can do it this way, you can do it this way, and you get a better result. That's another thing they do. Then the next is that they help to transport the produce of the farmers. So they go to the farm, they get the produce and transport it to their own office or their distribution store. Then the disadvantages of the marketing board, first, is that they deal mainly on major export crops. They deal majorly on export crop. Then it is capital intensive. It consumes a lot of money. They got to bring in a lot of money into that. Then the government interferes with the running boards. Governments get involved in the affairs of the marketing board. Then the next marketing agent is the cooperative society. So the advantages of cooperative society, first, they stimulate competition in produce marketing by buying produce in bulk. The cooperative society goes to the producer or the farmer and buys in bulk. Then they have they have a close contact with the producer because they buy it all at once from him, or they buy in bulk as much as they want. Then they reduce the inequality of income distribution by selling to members at reduced rates. Another advantage of the cooperative society is that they provide storage facilities and transportation services for the produce. Then the last advantage I'll be talking about is that they grant loans to their members. So those are the advantages of the cooperative societies. Then the disadvantages, they do not always encourage individual enterprise because they are the ones that go to buy it. So they buy it in bulk, then they keep selling to their members. The next is that they are prone to financial misappropriation and poor management, because in a cooperative society, anybody, all the members have equal rights to become the executive. So they are not qualified, or they are incompetent in handling cooperative societies. They are just all the same. It's not as if they are schooled in that area. So if you're a member of the society, you have a right to be voted in as a member of the executive. So that is why they are prone to financial misappropriation and poor management. The next marketing agents that we'll be looking at the advantages and disadvantages is the private middleman. You know, when we were defining marketing, I told you earlier that it's the process whereby goods move from the farmer, who is the producer, to the final consumer. So every other person that is in between the farmer and the consumer is the middleman. They are the middlemen. So what advantages and disadvantages do they have as marketing agents? The advantages first. Number one, they link producers with the consumers. So the farmer, wherever he produces his produce, the consumer may not know, but the produce gets to the consumer through the middleman. Then the next advantage of the private middleman is that they give loan to the producer. Sometimes the farmers are in short of funds and they need to harvest or even give laborers money so that they can bring out goods from the farm. So they can meet the middleman and say, okay, give me so amount of money to do this work on farm. After 3 weeks, I'll pay you back. So that's another advantage of the private middleman. The next is that they provide storage facilities and assist in even distribution of produce. They provide storage facilities. Once they get the goods from the farmer, they keep it. Then they ensure even distribution across the places. Then the last advantage of the private middlemen is that they bear most of the risk. Most of the risk at the end of production, they bear it. You know, when produce are carried from the farmer to market, hazards that happen through transportation, spoilage of perishable goods and things like that. They are the ones that bear the risk, because the farmer sells the goods to them in a good shape, but maybe in the process of storage or transportation, there is a problem that occurs to the goods. So they are the ones that bear the risk. The farmer is less concerned about that. Now, the disadvantages of the private middlemen. The first is that they inflate the prices of commodities. Let's give an example. For instance, maybe the middleman bought a good from the farmer at the rate of 500 naira per one, and probably they brought it to the consumer. They are telling the consumer, you see, this thing is very expensive, we are going to sell it for you at 1,200 naira. That's even the cheapest. Can you see the rate of inflation? So they inflate prices, and then they also create artificial scarcity. For instance, they can just decide that, okay, they want to hoard, like they keep back the goods, even though the goods are available, but they are not supplying it to the consumers. So the consumer believe that the good is scarce. So the little they find, they feel, oh, it's so, they treasure it and buy it at a very expensive rate, rather than when they see it in surplus. Advantages of wholesalers. Those are also middlemen. The first is that they purchase produce in bulk. They buy in bulk directly from the producer. Then they produce or provide storage facilities and have good transport facilities. Since they go to the farm to get the goods in bulk, so they have to store it and they transport it to the consumers. Then they pass information from the retailers to the producers and vice versa. So the wholesalers sell to the retailers. So the information that the consumer gives the retailer is passed through the wholesaler to the producer. So the farmer will know how people are getting along with his produce and what he can do, can always get a feedback through the wholesaler. Now, the disadvantages, they exploit the producers and the retailers. Like I gave an illustration earlier, buying a good of 500 naira from the farmer, selling it at 1,200. Sometimes they gain more than the farmer who actually did the work. So they exploit both the producer and the retailer. Then they also create artificial scarcity of goods by hoarding it. Then they inflate the prices of commodities. Advantages of the retailers. First, they make produce readily available to the consumers. You can almost always get produce from the retailers. Unlike the farm